Alright, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to Madrid Hub again. I'm your host, Dr. JOTA. Super rainy day today in Houston, but let me tell you what, although this rain, we have pretty shiny and very good news for you all, guys. Because today, last night in Spain, Radio Estadio is the name of the show, confirmed Real Madrid will throw an offer for Kylian Mbappe this January. And maybe for some of you all, this is a very weird move and completely ununderstandable. It's like, what? What are we going to pay? Or why are we going to throw any kind of offer for a player who will become a free agent as of January the 2022nd? There is a reason for it, and there is a very decent explanation for that. Believe it or not, what Real Madrid is doing is a kind of friendly gesture towards Paris Saint-Germain, because Florentino Perez doesn't want to start any kind of war. But I will explain you really quick and in more detail over the end of the video. So let's wait a little bit more to the end of the video, and you will understand why Real Madrid is doing this kind of, weird move. But before to get started with that, let me give you a couple updates on the different players of Real Madrid. But let me get started with a player who is not a Real Madrid player, but of course is Sergio Ramos, who is like if he still was a Real Madrid player, because he has been our captain and of course is part of the history of Real Madrid. So that's why I'm telling you this couple news, I'm sharing with you this couple news about Sergio Ramos. Okay, so the first one, yesterday, for all those of you who still don't know, L'Equipe in France revealed the salary Sergio Ramos is making in Paris Saint-Germain, which is 6 million per season, right? Apparently everything is fine. 6 million is good and all the stuff, but let me tell you what, we have to go beyond that point and try to see what is the reason behind that kind of news. Just because I think L'Equipe, the only reason why they reveal the salary of Sergio Ramos is just because they want to harm and they want to create problems within Paris Saint-Germain. Just because, if you have a player, if you learn that one of the most important players, a player that has been signed by your team the last summer, over 30 years old, 35 years old, and with an injury going on, and then the salary he's making in your club is revealed, it is because you know that the fans will be very upset towards whether Al-Khelaifi or even Sergio Ramos. So to me, the only reason why L'Equipe has revealed all this information now in this moment is to harm and create problems within PSG, whether against Sergio Ramos or Al-Khelaifi. But this is a very intentional move. This news haven't been released just by coincidence. You know what is the point? So to me, they are trying to create this kind of controversy within Paris Saint-Germain fans, so they get very mad at Sergio Ramos or even Paris Saint-Germain or even Al-Khelaifi, saying like, why did you sign this player when he was over the 30s, he was in his 35s, and also he was injured, and he's still making 6 million and he hasn't made his debut yet, which is completely understandable that it'll be, it will make them nuts, completely nuts, because if I have a player who hasn't made his debut already, but is still making a lot of money, of course, I'm not going to be okay with that if I am a Paris Saint-Germain supporter or fan or Real Madrid fan or whatever. So this is a very, in my opinion, intentional news revealed by L'Equipe last night. And then, apparently, in addition to that, Andrés Onrubia claimed this morning in Diario AS, Al-Khelaifi didn't like the situation of Sergio Ramos, and he is apparently very upset with the Sevillian player. And the reason for that is because, Andrés Onrubia is claiming Al-Khelaifi doesn't like or is not okay with Sergio Ramos, and apparently they are not getting along anymore. just because the president of Paris Saint-Germain is very upset with all this whole thing that has been happening with his multiple injuries and all the stuff, right? But to me, he's really upset not with Sergio Ramos, but with the situation in general. I mean, it's like I said in the beginning of the video with the other news. If he feels that the people will be very mad at him just because he signed very quickly to Sergio Ramos without thinking the age of the player and the injuries of the player, he feels he might be seen like a person that screw it up, you know what I'm saying? So he doesn't want to give to the people that image from himself, and he's probably upset just because he signed to Sergio Ramos thinking he was going to be again the greatest player or the greatest, center back in the world or something like that, but he failed thinking that way. And now what is going on with Sergio Ramos is clearly damaging his image, and Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain fans are so upset with Al Khelaifi just because of this. So I don't know what is going on, but apparently now Sergio Ramos is coming along, is feeling better, is recovering, and he probably goes back to the team make his debut next November the 20th. So let's wait a little bit more, but the things are not going in the right way in Paris right now. Now, next story, let's move on and let's talk about the people who says the possibility that this, takeoff of Vinicius Jr. in the career of Vinicius Jr., it's a kind of incompatible with the signing of Kylian Mbappe, just because Kylian Mbappe normally plays in the position of Vinicius Jr. or even in the center forward position. To me, look, they are not incompatible enough. I mean, they are not incompatible at all, just because Kylian Mbappe is the kind of player who can be moving all the time, all around the attack, and he can play either in the right side, in the left side, or even in the center. You know what I'm saying? So if you keep Vinicius Jr. in the left, you keep Benzema in the center, and then you want to put to Kylian Mbappe in the right, it's gonna be okay. I mean, the player will be still good, a very good player, because he's a player that it really doesn't matter where he plays, that he will continue scoring goals, creating danger, and all the stuff. So there's no obstacle, shouldn't be any concern about the possibility for the player to come to Real Madrid just because Vinicius is taking off right now. I mean, actually, it's gonna be even better for Real Madrid because we really need a player like Vinicius Jr. or Benzema in the right side. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see any reason to stop the signing of Kylian Mbappe, and to me they can play together, and of course there are room enough for everybody, and Carlo Ancelotti will figure how to put these players together and make the things work and happen in the direction that we want to happen. You know what I'm saying? So everything will work out in Real Madrid with these three players, Vinicius Jr., Mbappe, Benzema, or Haaland as well. So we shouldn't be worried or concerned about that. So now let me move on and talk to you all about the super greatest news that we have today. It is coming from Radio Estadio. It's a show in Spain. In the last night, they said something really interesting, because apparently Real Madrid is thinking about the possibility to throw an offer for Kylian Mbappe next January the 2022. I mean, the next year, the next winter market. The reason for that, I mean, believe it or not, for some people out there, this is not understandable, considering the player will become a free agent. So why we should throw money on the table, why we should to pay PSG something for Kylian Mbappe, why we should throw an offer for a player who will become a free agent and potentially he might become a Real Madrid player for free. The reason, I mean, it's not pretty simple reason, but let me tell you what. In the soccer spectrum, I mean, if you remember the words from Kylian Mbappe in the last interview, he said he was interested in quitting and get out of Paris Saint-Germain last summer just because he wanted for Paris Saint-Germain to receive money for him instead of losing him for free, which is obviously very damaging for the finances of the club. You know what I'm saying? So if you think about that, Real Madrid is thinking in the same way than Kylian Mbappe, and they still consider if they pay something for Kylian Mbappe, it's going to be a kind of friendly gesture towards Paris Saint-Germain, because what we want to happen is to sign Kylian Mbappe, but in the most friendly or reasonable way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we don't want to hijack, we don't want to steal the player, or we don't want to sign the player and leave Paris Saint-Germain with the sensation, with the feeling we are trying, or we've been trying to hijack the player, or steal the player, or just, you know, take him out from Paris Saint-Germain or something like that. What we want to happen is to sign Kylian Mbappe, but in a very friendly, normal, and quiet way. We don't want any scandal, we don't want any war, we don't want to leave PSG behind like these guys, are traitors or something like that. No, that is what we don't want. So that's why Real Madrid is even preparing. I don't think Real Madrid is going to pay about 200 million in January, or even 150, but maybe they can reach an agreement for about 80 to 90 million with PSG, with Paris Saint-Germain, and then get to Kylian Mbappe for Real Madrid next January instead of waiting for the summer, and then Paris Saint-Germain would receive some money for the player, which is completely understandable and reasonable and good enough for them. You know what I'm saying? So that's why apparently the reason why these guys from Radio Stereo are claiming Real Madrid will prepare an offer for the player next January, the 2022. I understand that, I get it, and of course I agree with that. And I agree with that because it's not only that we are going to get Kylian Mbappe sooner than expected, which is, to me, is not a kind of advantage, because it really doesn't matter when is he going to play for Real Madrid, because even if you arrive to Madrid in the middle of the season, it is going to be even a little bit complicated to adjust the player to the rest of the teammates. You know what I'm saying? It is much easier to start all over in the preseason, trying to make the tactical adjustments and put Kylian Mbappe in the right place and stuff like that, instead of getting him in the middle of the season. But I'm okay with that. But as long as we can have or keep a very good relationship with Paris Saint-Germain, that is a very good point for us, because you never know in the future what can happen. So it is a good idea from Real Madrid to try to calm the waters down a little bit with Paris Saint-Germain and say, hey, we want to sign this player, but we are willing to do it in the right way, or in a peaceful way, or in a friendly way, or whatever you want to call it. So that is the most important news that I had for you all, guys. Now hit the subscribe button if you haven't done already, and of course thumbs up if you liked the video, and see you in the next one.